So chances are you've all probably heard about this by now. But if you haven't, this will probably come as a really big shock. Whatever the case may be, we need to talk about it, and we need to talk about it now. Both my YouTube channel as well as several other YouTube channels that you may watch might be gone by January of 2020. They'll either be deleted, abandoned, or severely crippled by new government regulations if what is currently going on continues into next year, which is just a little over a month away. The reason for this change on the website is all due to something called COPPA. COPPA is the Child's Online Privacy Protection Act, and it was made in 1998 to protect children from websites that might collect data on kids and do malicious things with that data. Fast forward a little over 2 decades later, and YouTube would get into a lot of trouble with this law. And that's because, unbeknownst to pretty much the majority of the platform, YouTube has technically been collecting data on people under the age of 13 in order to serve them with what are known as targeted ads. These targeted ads are designed to put something specific in front of the viewer that they know you want to buy. So, to make a long story short, YouTube was forced to pay a $170 million fine to the Federal Trade Commission and also forced to change the platform and make it, quote, safer for kids by removing these targeted ads on content that the FTC considers to be directed at children. So YouTube essentially has told all of your favorite creators, including me, that we are to designate our content as being either made for kids or not made for kids. If you designate your content as being made for kids, your videos will lose the ability to have comments, notifications will no longer go out to subscribers, you will no longer be able to find the videos in search, and 60 to 90% of the ad revenue, which is how most of us make our money and pay our bills, will be gone. In other words, the channel will ultimately die a quick and sudden death. To make things relatively simple, it's entirely possible that if you used to make $10,000 a month making videos for YouTube, you will now only be making $1,000. And since all of these abilities and more will be gone from the channel, growth will be impossible as well. So it is a hole that you literally cannot climb out of. Now, if you designate all of your videos as being not made for kids, then everything will go the way it used to on the platform, with one major exception. If the FTC goes over your content themselves and determines that it is actually directed at or even appealing to children, they can fine you up to $42,530 per video. The way they determine whether or not a YouTube video is appealing to children was written in the law way back in 1998. If you use the words cool, duh, or whatever, this could be viewed as appealing to children. If you feature child actors or celebrities that may be appealing to children, you could get defined as child-directed as well. If you include things like video or computer games, sports, or even cereal, you could also be deemed kid targeting. Bright colors in thumbnails is even being talked about as an offense to the FTC. Of course, all of this information has put a lot of your favorite creators in alarm recently, and that's mainly due to none of us really having a clue as to what the hell is going on. Like I mentioned earlier, YouTube is technically the one who broke the COPPA law by collecting data on children, but in their defense, they do state in their terms of service that you must be over the age of 13 in order to have a YouTube account, but that doesn't seem to matter to the FTC. Either way, the fact that YouTube has passed the check on to us, the content creators, is something that is pretty damn terrible to say the least. If I were to get hit with even one fine from the government for $42,000, that would be incredibly damaging to me. There would be no way that I would be able to carry on making YouTube videos, and honestly, I wouldn't really have any reason to make them at that point anyway. If I set all of my content as made for kids, which I can assure you it is most certainly not, then I would be losing up to 90% of the money that I make on this content. Making these YouTube videos is currently how I pay all of my bills, from my rent to the food I provide for family members, to the car that I have sitting in front of the house. If I am forced to do this in order to prevent myself from getting fined by the FTC, I will literally be unable to continue doing this full time. I'd be forced to make only half of the money I currently do elsewhere, just so that I can make half of my ends meet. So both the incentive to do this would be gone, as well as the time to produce the content. If I can't afford to make the videos and pay my bills, I can't make the videos. Needless to say, this entire situation is pretty ridiculous, and the fact that it's just now being enforced onto content creators is really terrible. Now, something that I guess not that many people are really talking about at the moment is the fact that some YouTubers are actually going to Washington, D.C. in order to talk to some of the commissioners of the FTC to reach some sort of middle ground. There's a really cool Roblox YouTuber named Creekcraft, for example, that's going there to try and help all of us out. So far, the FTC has found it very confusing that YouTube has told its creators that they need to designate their content on the platform as either being just made for kids or not made for kids. With the law being so outdated and vague, you could literally say anything short of sex, drug use, or murder is made for kids on the platform. While most sensible individuals would be able to understand the nuance of an adult toy collector like Laura Legends, Victoria's Cantina, or Ted Brothers as being content that is not directly trying to lure children in and collect their data, the FTC's current laws interpret that very differently. Who's to say that they won't look at a picture of a dinosaur from the Jurassic Park movies and put it into a specific made-for-kids bracket? Even with solid arguments like all of the films being rated PG-13 and having a history and reputation as being quite violent and adult-situated, we're talking about being at the mercy of the subjective viewpoints of the FTC. And if they say you owe them $42,000, it's pretty fucking serious. There's been a lot of criticism put forth on this law recently about how it doesn't really protect any children and how it's actually just going to hurt them when kid-friendly content creators are forced to leave or change their material in order to not be deemed child-directed. Ultimately, the only thing this will really do is destroy family-friendly content on the platform, while simultaneously taking down nearly everything else along with it. Now kids will only be able to see adult-oriented subject matters. But hey, you stopped them from getting a Lego commercial before the video, so yeah, there's that. Now, I've talked with a lot of my friends on YouTube about this law and its effect on all of us, and I can tell you it's extremely confusing. I've had private conversations with Dangerville, Jurassic Collectibles, The Gaming Beaver, and Tony from Cinemassacre. Bottom line, this law is extremely stressful on me and a lot of my friends on the platform. I've considered joining a network, one that I actually do know of and trust because of the people behind it, and I think that might be the way I need to go in order to get sponsorships in the future. But at the same time, I'm still really worried about the government coming in and shutting down what I do here. The way I talk in my videos isn't exactly geared towards little tiny children. Most of the time I use pretty big words when describing Jurassic Park canon, paleontology, behind-the-scenes technology, and my personal experience with the franchise. However, even my profile picture of me from the 90s could be viewed as an offense to the FTC. Guys, this could really be the end of not only my channel, but a lot of your favorite channels on the platform. I wish I didn't have to make this video, and I'm honestly hoping and praying that this crackdown doesn't come to pass. But if the law doesn't change and if everything stays the same, the FTC can absolutely come in and destroy my business in a single day. If my YouTube channel does get destroyed by this stuff, the only other places that you're probably going to be able to find me are on my Instagram account, Facebook page, and Twitch. But one day, who knows, they might come for all of that stuff too. Now, thankfully, there is something that you can do to help all of us out. Right now, the FTC is taking comments about this law and how they're about to enforce it. I would strongly recommend that you all leave them a carefully worded critique on what you think about the law and its effect on the platform. And please, please, if you do that, don't go in cursing up a storm and insulting them. They might change this thing, and we might be able to get out of this before January. So please do your research and tell them what you think in a respectable manner. You can also sign the petition on change.org in order to make your voice heard on the subject matter. Honestly, I don't really know what's going to happen right now. Part of me feels like I've been sold out by YouTube for something I didn't even know the website was doing. And the ramifications for that offense is the total annihilation of an entire digital economy. But if the FTC really does execute Order 66 on all of us, this is going to be incredibly bad. In the meantime, I'm going to try and continue making as many videos for you all that I possibly can. But if I'm no longer able to do so in January, I hope you all know that I've really enjoyed my time on the platform. You've all given me an amazing couple of years, and I'm never going to ever forget that. Thank you to all of my patrons that have helped me in times of need, and thank you to each and every one of you for simply watching my content. If this is really the end, well, I'm sorry I couldn't be here longer. But I hope you all had a good time. I'll see you all in the next one, guys. And as always, take it easy.